Welcome back to the channel. Today we got the three wise men and we're gonna do a little automotive touring. So we're gonna go to Augusta, Kansas, which is just to the east of Wichita, about 15 miles, and go see some motorcycles, some old motorcycles. Jimmy's an old motorcycle drag racer and enthusiast and Harley owner, so I'll be curious to see if you like any of these old motorcycles. And then later we're gonna go check out, they have a big auto show or something in Wichita. So I thought I'd make a little automotive video and see what's all around Wichita. So are you guys more excited to see the motorcycles or the cars?
Motorcycles.
I'm going for the cars.
All right, we'll see what you like the best.
If you like red brick downtowns, you're going to love Augusta, Kansas, because there's a lot of red brick. It's the third largest town in Butler County with over 9,000 people. So we'll show you just a few bits and pieces of the town because there are a lot of impressive buildings here. In 1868, a guy named C.N. James settled in the area, built a log cabin, and served as a general store and trading post. About that same time, the post office was established here, and he was the first postmaster. James named the post office and the town in honor of his wife, Augusta James. 1877, the Florence, El Dorado, and Walnut Valley Railroad Company built a branch line through Augusta, and still today the Santa Fe maintains tracks through Augusta with a brick depot constructed in 1916. The Frisco Railroad established another depot here in 1880, serving both passengers and freight. Passenger service ended in 1960. Oil was discovered near Augusta in 1914, led to the doubling of population between 1910 and 1920. Oil drilling and refining became a major source of employment for many years. And in 2010, the Keystone Cushing Pipeline Phase 2 was constructed about 1.5 miles west of Augusta. You can see different population increases, so it's pretty steady early on. Then that oil boom, like I said, doubled the population in 1920, and then it has continued to steadily go up and is near its highest point ever at 9,256 today. Now over to the Twisted Oz Motorcycle Museum. They have two buildings here. They have the tornado there on the first building. That's a pretty cool little design. And we got a tour today, so I would certainly advise to get a tour from one of the volunteers here. And like I said, there's two buildings. The second building we're going to go to has some of the older motorcycles, but this has a lot of cool stuff too. And our tour guide did a great job telling us all about them. He spoke pretty low, so kind of hard to hear him, so I was just going to kind of narrate this instead. But you can see they're all marked very well, and they have a lot of information about what the motorcycles are. I particularly was interested in the Wall of Death. You've probably seen this on like Wide World of Sports or something like that, where they would ride motorcycles around it and call it the Wall of Death. Pretty cool. So they opened this in 2016. This was an old kind of body shop, and so it's not been open that long, just 10 years. And you can see it's just tons of motorcycles. There's some really cool ones coming up, a little bit older. But admission is free, and they certainly like to get donations, and I would advise that. They'll give you, like I said, a great tour. And the operation is largely run by volunteers. The mission is to preserve and display motorcycle history while attracting visitors interested in history and vintage motorcycles. So you can see that it says Cannonball 24, and what that means is they rode it across the country, like the Cannonball Run. And some of those races, it has to be over a 100-year-old motorcycle. That's pretty crazy. And that's a pretty crazy looking motorcycle. They also have, posters and murals and other things that are historic around the museum. A lot of Indian motorcycles. If you're into motorcycles, you definitely have heard of that. They had this part here of a bunch of Joyland memorabilia and things from Joyland. That's the amusement park that was in Wichita that closed like 20, 25 years ago. I did a video on it. One of my first videos on the channel was about Joyland. And cool to see that. And this was in Joyland. So not a motorcycle, but a vehicle. So part of their little Joyland exhibit. So very cool. And just so many unique motorcycles. So they have like a combination of historic and unique and rare motorcycles. It's open Friday through Sunday, 10 to 4. And you can make an appointment if you want like a private tour. I'm sure they would come and help you out. Yeah, look at some of these very interesting vehicles, motorcycles. You saw that had a 24 Cannonball on it, so that one was driven across the country. Pretty amazing to think about. Nice truck outside. We're going to head over to the second building. And I'm guessing they had an idea to start with one building, but they had so many motorcycles they had to add a second. And this is one that has the oldest motorcycles. 1905 Indian Camelback Single. And this whole row here, kind of walking down, is the oldest antique motorcycles. Most of these motorcycles, I was told, are in running condition of some level. Maybe not the 1905 ones, but they are able to run at some level. So just really cool to see history of motorcycles here. They've done a great job documenting everything here. These are all 1900 and 1910 motorcycles as we're walking through here. And really amazing. If you're a motorcycle enthusiast of any level, you certainly want to stop by here just to see this row of old motorcycles. It's interesting because they almost look like bicycles, the old ones. And a lot of old Harley-Davidson stuff as well. And my brother, he's Harley-Davidson rider, or used to be. That's an old Indian that had like the little kit to repair it. There, the original kit. And some of these Harleys that are those colors there were often made for military. And so they had that color. Then they ended up selling a lot of them because people liked that color. You see some of the old signs here at the shop. Quite a few if you look on the walls. You get distracted by the motorcycles, and you don't always look on the walls, but there's a lot of cool stuff on the walls as well. This is the 1908 Curtiss. Curtiss is the name of Wichita aviation history. So there's the bike that Curtiss made. Then they have just unique motorcycles like this. Let me look at that engine.
Everybody in the team was wanting to get into the motorcycle business. Next one was on the Wichita Police Department back in the 30s. Like the rest of them, because it's got such good paint on it, that's the original paint. They didn't build any more until the Knucklehead in 36.
Just got done with the Motorcycle Museum in Augusta. It seemed pretty cool to me. I'm not a motorcycle expert, so what did you think of that?
It was awesome. I've been to several museums in my lifetime, and that was probably had some of the most rarest bikes I've ever seen, and probably one of the Jerry was the greatest tour guides you could ever have as a tour guide. So yeah, if you're ever in Augusta, Kansas, stop by. Twisted
Oz Motorcycle
Twisted Oz
Museum.
Museum.
Yeah, we got some T-shirts and some stickers, and so yeah. All right, on to the car show down in Wichita.
And now on to Automobilia Car Show here in Wichita. Gonna walk over the bridge to check things out. So this is officially called the Automobilia Moonlight Car Show and Street Party. And you can see why when you walk through. It's quite the event. It's held annually in downtown Wichita. Century 2 is the building on the right there. And it's a big kind of spaceship looking place. But this event began in the 90s. I believe this is the 32nd year of it. And it's one of the largest car shows in all of the state of Kansas. They closed down about 2 miles of downtown streets here for this show. And typically it attracts about 100,000 spectators. You can see different streets that are all closed off and cars in all kinds of parking lots. And as you can see, very unique cars. So they have between 1,000 to 1,500 vehicles that are usually displayed, depending on the year. And in recent years, vehicle registration has also been free thanks to sponsors. They have motorcycles, classic cars, antique automobiles, hot rods, street rods, trucks, all kinds of different vehicles. And it's operated as a charity event and the proceeds benefiting local nonprofit organizations. And some of the cars even talk back to you. There's a type of car here for everybody, whether you need a car that moves or a Porsche there. You can see the old building right there on the right at the bottom of the screen. That's the old City Hall. It was built in 1892 that we walked past earlier. So they have some cars inside as well. So if you want to get out of the heat and check out more cars, they stuffed them in every corner possible. As the sun's setting, there's a good shot of Century 2 with all the cars around it. We're going to head down to the river to check out one final thing. Right where two rivers meet, this is the Keeper of the Plains, one of the most well-known landmarks in Wichita. Definitely a place to come by and check out. At 9 o'clock every night in the summer, they fire up the cauldrons and everybody gathers up to check things out. So thanks to my brother and my nephew for flying out to Kansas from Ohio. We had a lot of fun all week, and this was a good way to spend some time with some family. Hope you enjoyed the Twisted Oz Motorcycle Museum and the Automobilia Car Show just as much as we did.